In the ancient kingdom of Eldora, wrapped in the embrace of towering walls and whispered legends, there lay a castle as old as the land itself. This castle, with spires reaching towards the heavens and its stones steeped in centuries of history, was home to Luna, the only daughter of the royal advisor. Luna lived a life draped in silks and shadows, her days filled with lessons on diplomacy and decorum, and her nights haunted by dreams of a life less restrained. The castle gardens where Luna found her solitude were a stark contrast to the rigid lines of the court. Here, wildflowers dared to bloom unchecked, and the ancient trees stood guard over the secrets old as time. It was here, under the guise of the moonlight, that Luna escaped the golden cage of her existence. On a night when the stars hid behind the veil of the clouds, and the air hummed with the promise of something not yet defined, Luna wrapped herself in a cloak of midnight blue, the color of the deep sea under a moonless sky, her feet silent on the soft earth. They carried her to the forgotten part of the garden where the shadows whispered and the world beyond the walls seemed a mere fantasy. Emerging from the darkness, a figure approached. He was broad-shouldered and strong, his presence commanding yet not imposing. This was Zane, the kingdom's master blacksmith, known for his skill in forging weapons for the royal guard. Zane was a man of fire and steel, his life a dance with flames that shaped the might of empires. Yet in his eyes, there shone a light softer than a glow of his forge, a curiosity, a kindness that drew Luna to him from the first day she saw him from the high tower. "I've watched you from afar," Zane's voice broke the stillness, a low, comforting rumble that sounded like the earth's own song. "There's a fire in you that the court life can't quench. Come, let me show you my world." His hand, rough from the touch of iron and flame, extended towards her. Luna, her heart thundering with a mix of fear and exhilaration, placed her delicate, unblemished hand in his. It was a gesture of trust, of longing, of a shared secret that the night would keep. Together they walked through the twisting pathways of the garden, the blooms perfuming the air with a scent as intoxicating as the promise of discovery. They spoke in hushed tones about their worlds so different, yet so alike, both bound by duty, both yearning for freedom. As they reached the edge of the garden, where the wild things were left to grow, and the walls could not confine, Zane stopped. Before them stood the entrance to his forge, hidden away by ivy and shadow, a place few knew existed and fewer still were welcomed. "The forge is a different kind of court," Zane said, pushing open the heavy wooden door. "Here we're ruled by fire and iron, by the strength of our arms and the courage of our hearts." The forge was a cavern of shadows and light, where sparks flew like tiny stars born from the belly of the earth. The heat that enveloped Luna, the scent of the metal, and the flame infusing in the air. It was a place of creation, of destruction, a place where the world was reshaped by hands and will. As Zane stoked the fire, bringing the coals to a life-roaring heat, Luna felt something awaken within her. A wild, untamed thing that had no place in polished halls of the castle. Here in the heart of the forge, with the blacksmith, whose hands shaped the very weapon that defended her world, Luna found the adventure she had longed for. They spoke of dreams and desires, of the chains that bound them and the dreams that drove them, and as the fire danced in Zane's dark eyes, Luna knew she'd stepped into a story that would change her life forever. In the warmth of the forge, under the watchful eyes of the ancient trees and the secretive stars, a bond was forged. A bond of fire and shadow, of iron and silk, a bond that the dawn could never break. As the forge's flames cast their golden glow, Zane began to reveal the mysteries of his craft to Luna. Each hammer strike was a note in the symphony of creation, the bright sparks rising like fireflies into the shadowed vaults above. The rhythm was mesmerizing, hypnotic, as Zane transformed raw iron into art, his movements both powerful and precise, a dance of fire and strength. Luna watched, entranced. The heat from the forge brought a gentle flush to her cheeks, and the light played across her features, highlighting the wonder in her eyes. The world outside, the expectations, the responsibilities, melted away, leaving only the moment, the warmth, the captivating artistry of the blacksmith. "Every piece tells a story," Zane said, his voice soft but clear over the clamor of metal against anvil. "It starts as nothing, but a raw, unformed promise. With heat and effort, it becomes something beautiful and something strong." Luna stepped closer, her gaze fixed on the glowing metal as it bent and yielded to Zane's will. "And what story are you telling me now?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the crackle and the hiss of the fire. Zane paused, looking from the iron to Luna, a smile playing at the corner of his lips. "It's a tale of discovery," he replied, with eyes locked on hers, "of finding beauty in unexpected places and strength in the heat of the challenge." The blacksmith returned his attention to the forge, and Luna watched as the metal took shape. A form emerged from the flames, a delicate flower crafted from the iron that once seemed so unyielding. It was a testament to transformation, to the magic that could arise from the fire and effort. As the night deepened, the air grew cooler, but the forge remained a bastion of warmth and light. Zane placed the finished iron flower into a barrel of oil to cool, and the steam rising around it like an early morning mist over a lake. He then turned to Luna, his hands outstretched once more. "Come," he said, leading her outside. They walked back through the garden, now shrouded in deeper shadows under the silvery light of a crescent moon. The night was alive with sounds of whispering leaves and distant calls of night creatures, a lullaby sung by the earth itself. They arrived at a small clearing where an ancient oak stood guard. Beneath its expansive branches, the world seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with enchantment. Zane guided Luna to a fallen log. He invited her to sit beside him. Above, the branches framed the moon, turning its light into silver threads that draped over them like a cloak. "Every night, the world changes," Zane murmured, his voice a soothing balm in the quiet of the forest. "The darkness isn't something to fear. It's a canvas, and the light, every star, every whisper of a moonbeam, it's the paint. We're all part of this grand, ever-shifting masterpiece," he said. Luna leaned back, her eyes tracing the patterns of the light and shadow. The night, once a backdrop to her solitude, was now a tapestry of stories of secrets and beauty and mystery, all unveiled by the blacksmith who saw the world not just as it was, but as it could be. "Thank you, Zane," she breathed out, a smile touching her lips. "Thank you for showing me this, for sharing your world." Zane looked at her with his gaze gentle. "Thank you, Luna, for seeing the beauty in it." In that clearing, under the watchful eye of the ancient oak, Luna felt a peace settle over her, a quiet joy that filled the spaces between the stars. The night wrapped around them like a promise, a gentle assurance that no matter how dark it seemed, there was light, there was beauty, there was hope. As they sat together, the world whispered its old, eternal stories the one carrying tales of love and life from the distant past into the heart of the present. And in those stories, Luna found her lullaby, a melody that carried her towards slumber, her dreams a continuation of the tale of fire and flowers, of shadow and light. And so, beneath the silver gaze of the moon, in the hush of the enchanted night, Luna began to drift into sleep, her heart and her dreams cradled in the magic of the moment, a moment forged by fire, shaped by stories, and cooled in the quiet of the stars. As the evening deepened into a velvety night, Luna and Zane lingered beneath that ancient oak, their bodies close in the cool shadow of the sprawling branches. The air around them thrummed with the latent energy of the forge and the natural magic of the garden. It wove a tapestry of intimacy that neither could deny. Zane's hand found Luna's as they sat, their fingers intertwining naturally. The touch was simple, yet electric, a connection forged in the warmth of their attraction to each other. And now, under the silver light of the moon, his skin was rough and marked by the toil of his craft, yet his touch was tender, filled with a reverence that resonated deeply with Luna. She turned to face him, her eyes reflecting the myriad of stars above, her breath catching as she felt the pull of something far deeper. Zane's gaze held hers, intense and unguarded. He leaned closer, his breath mingling with hers, his voice a low whisper that caressed her soul. Luna, there's a beauty in fire, in its power to transform, he murmured. But tonight, I see the same beauty in you, burning bright, and it's impossible to ignore. Luna's heart fluttered, her body instinctively leaning into his. Zane responded to her subtle cue, his arm encircling her waist, putting her gently against him. The contact sent a shiver through her, not from cold, but from a burgeoning desire that she had never known. Here, in the secluded embrace of the garden, with a man who crafted beauty from raw flame, Luna felt a different kind of transformation, one that awakened a fervent passion within her. Zane's eyes searched Luna's face, almost to seek permission, a silent questioning hanging between them. Luna answered by closing the gap, pressing her lips to his in a kiss that ignited the very fires of his forge. It was a kiss that spoke of newfound desires, of barriers breaking and hearts opening. His hands were gentle yet confident as they traced her spine, pulling her closer, deepening the kiss. Luna melted against him, her hands exploring the strong lines of his back, feeling the muscles that worked the billows and swung the hammer. The rough texture of his tunic under her fingertips was a stark contrast to the smooth silk of her own gown, a reminder that their different worlds coming together in this stolen moment is impossible at best. The kiss grew more fervent, more insistent. Luna's breath came in soft moans, each one a surrender to the overwhelming desire that Zane was so skillfully awakening in her. He shifted slightly, his lips trailing from her mouth down that delicate line of her neck, each kiss planting fire along her skin. Under the canopy of the stars, in the watchful eyes of the ancient trees, they explored each other, with a growing urgency, their movements fueled by a passion that both had suppressed in their own ways. Luna, once the sheltered daughter of the court, found liberation in Zane's arms. Zane, the humble blacksmith, found in Luna a muse, a queen of his heart and desires. As the night whispered around them, they lay together on the soft earth, the grass a bed of nature's own making, the world beyond the garden walls, the rules, the roles, and the expectations faded into insignificance. In the secluded grove, there were simply Luna and Zane, lovers entwined by fate and flame, their hearts beating a rhythm as ancient and as enduring as the stars overhead. Together, they crossed the threshold of a mere physical union, entering a realm where souls mingle and the essence of love is forged. Not unlike iron in the fire, but far more delicate and infinitely precious. As the dawn's first light began to steal over the horizon, they found themselves wrapped not just in each other's arms, but in the warmth of a love that promised to endure the night's magic. As the dawn's light crept across the sky, casting the world in hues of gold and rose, Luna and Zane laid intertwined under that ancient oak, their heart and soul interlaced as tightly as their fingers. The magic of the night lingered around them, a tender echo of their newfound connection. Yet, as the reality of day began to assert itself, they knew they must part, returning to their separate worlds, but changed forever. Reluctantly, disentangling themselves, they shared one last, longing look. Zane brushed a stray curl from Luna's face, his touch lingering as if to memorize the feel of her skin. "This isn't the end," he whispered, a promise hanging in his voice like the morning dew on the leaves. "I will find a way," Luna replied, her voice thick with emotion. Her duties at the court awaited. Her role as the royal advisor's daughter, never more a cage than now, especially after tasting true freedom in Zane's arms. I hope that you sleep well, and we'll continue the story of Luna and Zane another time. Continue listening to this beautiful music as it will soothe you to sleep. Sweet dreams, and may you find your Zane or Luna. Good night.